welcome to another random character generator. I am Greg Tito, and I am joined by Brandy Camel. Hi, Brandy.
Hey, Greg, how you doing today?
Very excited to be back with you, where we, in this segment, press the randomize character button on D&D Beyond for a level 3 D&D character, and we see what pops out, and we create a backstory around our character. And for this, I'm very excited because we haven't done it in a couple of months, and I want to press this button. You ready?
Yeah, definitely. Let's do it.
All right. Umman Trollbleeder is the name of this mountain dwarf druid.
Oh, man.
Interesting.
There's already so much running in my brain already.
Very high constitution, 19 with a +4 modifier. Very bad charisma
Oh, man.
with a
That
5.
5 charisma. This is not your face character.
No, this is not. Middle of the road stats, 14 for strength, 12 for dexterity. That makes sense. 14, 15 for wisdom. That's pretty good. Mental stats.
Pretty good. That's pretty solid. This is a very well-rounded character, just at a very high level.
Yeah. And a dwarf druid you don't see very often.
No, definitely not. You can think of the one in Forgotten Realms with Pykel, but that's the only one I can think of. So
Yes. And as a background, Umman Trollbleeder is a Rakdos cultist.
oh man, all right. So this already puts us in Ravnica.
Yeah.
So this is a Ravnica character, which is kind of interesting. Rakdos is an interesting choice for a druid in particular. Like the Rakdos cult is very brutal, is very like body modification driven.
Right.
Which you could honestly kind of twist a druid down that dark side of things and with that nature. So I think it works. I think this could work.
There's also like a showman quality to Rakdos, right? Where it's in the Magic the Gathering universe, it's demons, but in D&D terms, those are devils, the lot more lawful evil type of outsiders, as they used to be called in previous editions. That they like to have pain and S&M kind of things as a show. And gosh, yeah, my brain is working hard on trying to see how a dwarven druid might fit into that. What do you think?
Oh man, there's a few different ways that you could go down this route. You could go down the idea of twisting nature to your needs for this particular kind of thing. This is probably more likely an evil aligned character, if maybe neutral at best, but is almost certainly your like brutish kind of I am a show of force, I am a show of power, and you can just as easily do that with the power and raw primal nature powers that a druid has. So
Right. And they have both acrobatics and performance trained, although
okay.
even with performance being trained, it's still a -1 on the
Yeah.
skill check roll for that. But at least this Umman would be, able to, maybe it's a trapeze artist or something that would be acrobatic in nature as part of the show is possible.
Totally. So if you've ever been to like one of those shows where the performers are just really mean to you, that's kind of what I'm imagining so far. Where it's like, yeah, no, I recognize you got some great skills, but you're not taking any compliments. You're not taking any cheers.
Right? Okay, yeah. And the cantrips here are Guidance, Gust, and Thunderclap,
Okay.
which at least the Gust might make sense for a trapeze artist or someone who is balancing up high
Yeah.
to be able to blow themselves back on course, perhaps, if they need it
Yep.
or as part of the show.
I could definitely see that. And I could see that as either spicing up a show or maybe even cushioning their landing if they slip off of something.
Right? They know Druidic. They can wild shape due to their Druid class. What is the circle?
Circle suppose. Oh, so that's the circle that they're associated with.
Yeah,
Which
I'm trying to
circle did
find which
they end
one
up? Yeah,
was chosen here.
not sure. It should be under features and traits.
Yeah. Oh,
Druid
Circle
circle.
of
There
the
we go.
Land Arctic.
Arctic. That's an
Oh,
odd
geez.
choice. That's definitely an odd choice. I mean, I guess with, with the nature of Ravnica and the nature of just kind of the Magic the Gathering universes in general, this just mean maybe that's where they came from. They might have come from an Arctic, more mountainous area, and got indoctrinated into the Rakdos cult, and so that's where they've now made their station from.
So you're thinking that the kind of druid dwarven background was where their origin was, Uman's origin was, and then they went with the circus.
Yeah, yeah. I think that kind of tracks for this particular the way everything's kind of lining up here.
What kind of age do you think this dwarf is?
Oh, wow.
Like
Okay.
older? Like, because at first when we were talking about, I was thinking like the older, weathered circus performer that was not as happy with their lot in life anymore. But what do you think?
You know what? It's very uncommon for a young dwarf to leave their clan early, but I think that fits really well for something like a cult indoctrination, where it's somebody who ran away. Like I like that phrase, the "run away with the circus" kind of idea of like there was something appealing about that. Dwarves culturally tend to be very rooted in strong. Oh God, what's the word for it? I don't know, blank on words
Clan?
today. Yeah, in like clan traditions, they usually have very strong clan traditions that they cling to, and maybe Omen didn't take to those. Maybe that this is their rebellious stage was to go join the Rakdos cult and run off from their Arctic family.
Yeah, and or do you think it was a intentional choice by Uman Troll Bleeder, or do you think it was an abduction type of story?
Oh, I could go either way, though they have that training in insight, which leads me to believe that I doubt it was a manipulation. I think there was something about joining the Rakdos clan that appealed to this character.
Yeah, and maybe it was the fact that they had a connection to nature that was attractive to the circus performers. They're like, oh yeah, you can help train our animals. You can even perhaps you turn into one of them with a wild shape in order to perform in that way. And that appeal was just too much for them, or maybe they just failed their their persuasion, contested persuasion role, and it's like, yeah, sure, I'll join up.
I
Not
mean, yeah,
knowing,
with that low charisma, they definitely have a disadvantage going into negotiations.
right? High wisdom, so you're right. They should be able to see through everything, but maybe they just went along with the pitch from the circus performers.
Well, and
Do
I
you
could
think that the devilish demonic nature has anything to do with this?
could be
Behind Rakdos?
behind Rakdos. I mean, I see the language. I see the abyssal language on their list as well. So,
Yeah.
that comes from the Rakdos cultists. So that makes sense. That maybe that is part of what it was. Maybe there was a contract that was signed. Maybe it's a contract that maybe Uman didn't sign the contract and they were sold off via some other person's arrangement.
Yeah. Do you think Troll Bleeder is a clan name, or do you think that is a honorific given to Uman only?
That's a pretty good Rakdos nickname, to be honest. So I could see that being like an adopted name after having left their clan, and especially if they're trying to leave those strong traditions behind that maybe they're not tied to anymore. Replacing their clan name is a very strong way to do that.
Yeah, and Troll Bleeder is such a I don't know. It
It's a
creates
very
a visual in my
evocative
mind,
name, yeah.
right? Because trolls have regeneration, and so if this is an awful thing, but if the part of the show is just watching Uman, cut a troll over and over again in various terrifying ways, that's maybe their shtick.
Yeah, that might be part of their act, and it would fit very well with the way the Rakdos represent themselves. So,
Yeah. Okay, what do you think Uman looks like, and what gender do they identify as?
I'm kind of feeling male for this character. Something about the Uman name
Yeah,
just reads masculine to me. So I'm gonna go with a male character for this one. I think on the younger side, probably very heavily scarred. I think
yeah,
scarification might be part of their presentation. Someone who, the trolls make me bleed, but I make them bleed more, kind of deal.
yeah.
Pro-
I like that
possi-
too.
Possibly heavily pierced. I could see that, and maybe like a lot of earrings, nose piece, those kinds of things.
That makes sense. A lot of leathers and red accents. Maybe that's just the
Definitely.
Rakdos coming through. All right. What do you think their demeanor is like? What do you think Uman's? How do they portray themselves
Uman
or
doesn't strike
himself?
me as a nice person.
No.
I think this is a very gruff exterior kind of person. I don't think he's very caring or sympathetic to others. I think he's there for his pleasures. He's there for the things that he wants to do, and if you're in his way, that might be a problem for you.
Yeah. And yeah, but trained with so many weapons, it's a weird combo between the druid and the dwarf with battle axe and javelins and quarterstaffs and things like that. But I feel like that would just all be part of the show, right? Being
Part
able
of the
to be,
show, for sure.
yeah, almost like a weapons master in some ways.
Yeah, especially if we're going with the idea that, maybe part of their show is this like fight club thing with trolls.
Yeah. And then the real terrifying thing about all this is that they can use the bagpipes.
I love that the bagpipes comes from the Rakdos background, by the way. That by far is my like, yeah, Rakdos is all about torture, so we're gonna go with bagpipes.
Providing, background music to other acts when they're not on stage, perhaps.
It really sets the mood.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I think we got like a full, fleshed out story here. But the only thing I think is missing is how they would be an adventurer or an NPC. Like, would you just encounter them as part of this Rakdos thing, or have they or has Uman gotten is that old for him, and he's like, I'm going to leave Rakdos too, and I'm going to go out on an adventure, but I still have all the skills from Rakdos.
I could see this being a character who gets spun up in like a city style campaign or a traveling campaign, being part of something like a circus or a show or something like that gives you all of the reasons to explore and leave that behind because there's some kind of hook or intrigue that pulls you in another direction. So maybe there's an attack on their show and they want to investigate where that attack come from, who did this to the thing that I care about. Like, this is one of the few things I care about, and I'm going to make something happen as a result of this. So I could definitely see Uman taking up their skills for the purposes of I need to protect the thing that I've come to love, in my own twisted Rakdos way.
Right. Like, this is the only found family they've ever wanted to be a part of, and someone is going to come out that, well, I'm going to come at you.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, let me sum all this up. So Uman Troll Leader is a mountain dwarf from the more Arctic lands, perhaps in Ravnica, but the kind of colder areas. And the Rakdos show came to Uman's homeland, and he immediately thought, that's the clan that I want to choose to be a part of. He renounced his former familial ties and joined the Rakdos cult as his found family, his found clan. He became versed in acrobatics, animal handling, whatever performance he is able to do, despite his low charisma. And as part of this act, he wounded a troll, and that was part of the show, having this kind of sadistic troll bleeding, and he got the nickname Troll Bleeder from that, and developed skills with the bagpipes to potentially also help out as terrifying music underlining all the rest of the Rakdos cultists. He is not a very pleasant or happy dwarf. Definitely comes across as angry and upsetting just to be around, completely scarred by his own choosing, perhaps, and pierced, wearing leathers, fitting in with the Rakdos clan as much as possible. And his call to adventure might be that something is threatening this, however terrifying, found family that he has, and he is going off to wreak havoc and/or revenge upon whoever would want to damage the life that he had built for himself. He's relatively young, but sounds not very happy.
I think that about tracks.
All right. What's his voice sound like? What you want to give me a Uman's voice? Am I going to put you on the spot here?
Sure. I mean, Uman, when he bothers to talk, is just a little bit gruff and to the point.
That's right. I like Uman. Great. Well, this is a really weird and fascinating character. Low charisma. His constitution will keep him alive despite all of the scars he has upon him. A lot of hit points for a third level character with 30 because of that high constitution. And I would love to see this character as either an NPC that you encounter in Ravnica or in other parts of the multiverse, or as a player character. I could see tapping into the little bit of oddness of this character and having him be a protagonist would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, this definitely sounds like something I could dig into. And Ravnica is such a fun kind of world to play in. So I think he fits right in.
I love that cityscape kind of feel.
It's so cool.
For this. So excellent. You can hopefully play Uman Troll Bleeder or use him as an NPC in your games following the link in the show notes here where this character sheet will be available for everyone to check out on D&D Beyond. And thanks, Brandy, for creating Uman with me.
Thanks for having me, Greg. This is always a blast.
Yeah. How could people ask you any questions about Uman Troll Bleeder, or perhaps just ask you to, give an impression of his voice?
If you want to find me, the best place to find me is on Twitter at Dainty, DAYNTEE.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks. We'll be back with another segment next week.